Hello everyone, welcome back to my class. This is the part 4 of the class and object series. This video, I will demonstrate and teach you how we can incorporate arrays in our objects, right? So, way back on our part 3 where we create three objects with different names. So as we can see here, the declaration of our and initialization of our objects with not the same name can be lead us sooner to confusion. So we want our codes and objects declaration to be organized and classified in a single array for us to call it easily in our program. So right now, I will be try to review your learnings about what is an array. Okay, so I'll open my PowerPoint presentation. Okay, array is just like a variable. So first we will discuss what is variable and we will going to review it. So variable stores only one value, right? So like for example, on here when we declare int num, so we are telling the in the random access memory of your computer that you were going to create a space for this variable because that space, this square, will have a value later. So if you want more variables in your program, probably you can use variables. But there is a disadvantage of using more variables in your program because it will create more rooms for your RAM because when you run your program, it will tell the computer to create the storage to the RAM for temporary storing of value. So if your computer is old enough and have a low capacity for RAM, probably when the computer use your computer, it will make the computer like drag or slow. So in order to solve that issue, since we want our program much more lighter to for everyone, instead of using variable, we will use array. Okay, array is stores multiple value in a single data type. Okay, the same thing. We declare a array num. It's the same thing what we did on our array variable, a variable num. But in here we just add at the before, oh no, after the variable, the num name has a open and close bracket that tells the compiler that this is a array, not a variable. So you can use arrays in basic data types in Java. You can use it on. You can use also on car, on boolean, on float, and double. And I could also use string array. So meaning you can store multiple values in a single data type. So as you can see on the box, here are the story are the subsection of your box. So in variable, you are creating each box in the RAM. Here you're saving more storage since you're just creating one box, but there is a subsection, and all of those boxes are under the name num. So you can save much more space in your RAM if you're using your array. Okay, so 125, negative 1, 99, 16, 50, negative 50, 77, and 22 are integer value. So if you don't follow single data type in in assigning value to your element, probably you get will have an error. So every array has an array elements. So it could have um, one or two or three or more array elements in your array. It depends how you will use your array. So every element has key and value. Okay, since all of those are the same name, and that is num, you want you to identify what section is this for 100, what section for this for 25, and what section for -1, for you to reference or to get that value or to add or change that value. Okay, so to do that, okay, we have to identify what is the key and what is the value. The the uh, uh, the the one that we cannot see, but we know it as a programmer, that key is a assignment. Okay, so key, every element has a key and it should start with 0. Okay, the one that is on the box is what we call the value. So every box there is an element, and box has a value, and the other thing that we cannot see but we can really know that that is a key because that belongs. So meaning num 0, that is 100, num 1 is 25, num 2 is -1, num 3 is 99. That the key is the one that holds the reference to the value, right? So when you want to get 22, you should try to use num 7, because this is all of these box are num, right? That is a num array, but every box has a key for us to reference. Okay, and every key has a value. Okay, so in order to us to really get familiar with it, if you forget it, I'll be giving you an example and on the our IDE. Okay, so let us go there. So I will just comment it, so we can just start over for an array. Okay, a simple array, like for example, if you create array of numbers, for example, you can use int num. Okay, and you don't forget to use open close parenthesis. This is what we call how we can declare our array. So we can initialize. Sorry about that. So going back here, so how we can initialize, we can use num is equal to having a bracket. Brackets are the set of concept elements, right? Since num1, num, sorry, is an integer, you can store variable data that has an integer value. Like for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, sorry for that. We need to put open close parenthesis. Okay, sorry, my mistake. This should uh, have an error. So if we want to use this one, we will um, together declare initialize this value. So for example, I'll be removing everything here. Instead using this technique, yeah, open a bracket and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for example, and open close parenthesis. So here we create our array num with his um, values, right? So We have how many elements in our array num? We have 6 elements. Okay, we have value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1 has a key of 1, 0, sorry. 1, value 1 has a key 0, value 2 has a key 1, value 3 has a key 2, value 4 has a key 3, value 4 has a key 5, and value 4 has a key 3, value 5 has a key 4, and value 6 has a key 5. Okay, so in order for us to access or reference those value, or to get those value when we output or we use it in our program, like for example we output it, so use system that out that print line. So if we were going to output 6, probably we use num, and then use open close bracket, and you should type 5. So that means we are going to output the value of 6. Okay, remember that the key should start at 0. So when we run our program, we can see there, here we have 6, right? So we can have, like for example, let us key, key, okay, element, okay, element 1, okay, okay, value, okay, num 0. For element 1, the value is 1 and the key is 0. And don't forget to add concatenation, okay? So when we add run our program, we have 1, right? Because that is our value for 1. We can also um, element 2, and we will output using the key 1. Just copy the same code. So okay, okay, lucky. So element 3, that is key 2, element 4, key 3, element 5, key 4, and element 6 for the key 5. Okay, okay, remember that starts with 0. So when we run it, we can access each value for our array. So you can use that in your program. You can add those things, you can subtract using arithmetic operators, you can do whatever you want it. But as you can see there, you can save a lot of line space, because in previous, if you don't use variables, you are keep creating variables, a variable like int num1, okay, is equal to 1, int, sorry for that, int num1 3 4 5 6, for example. So int num2, int num3, int num4 5 6, and we do 2 3 4 5 6. So basically, if you are creating 6 values to variable, you are creating for 6 storage in your RAM. That is not advisable, right? So instead of those things that you're going to use multiple lines of declaring initializing value, a variable, you have to use array to make it much more simpler, right? And you can access it through using the same name num, but you should use open and open bracket. Okay, so I'll just remove this one, and we can just have fun of it. Like for example, you can create string. For example, for string name, for example, you can have this is my last name, like Alejo, and my first name and my middle name. So With this, we can don't forget to put bracket. Okay. So with this, our name we have input three value. The first key, the first element has a value of Alejo, and that is key 0. The second element has a value of John Van Hart and has a key of 1. And the third element has a value of Torres and a key of 2. So you can save much line if you are using array instead of variable. So we can access it through reference using key. So you can output like system out that print line. Uh, okay, hello. My name is okay. Okay, you can use it like num. No, sorry, name. Um, my name is or my first name is. So I'll use since first name I'll use key of 1. Okay, so it outputs my name. My first name is John Vanhart. Okay. So if you're going to output the same thing, but it is your last name, you should use key 0. Okay, run, and also, right? And also for middle name, right? For middle name, that is 2. So that is how we can access arrays. Okay, that's very simple. You can use it for any thing in your program that is only to storage. You can access it, right? So like for example, if you add 1 and 6, right, you can just add for example um, int add is equal to num 0, that is 1, right? That is key 1, value 1. Add, and I will add 1 and 6, so this key is 5, so num is 5. Okay, so output that print line. Okay. Uh, the okay, we have the sum of the two elements in the array is okay, and don't forget use add. Okay, concatenate it semicolon. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so now we can have an answer 7. Yeah, because adding 1 and 6. You can do as much as you want to. Okay, you can work on it, right? So it depends on your. So you can also do some multiplication, subtraction, and division. So another thing we can also access, since we can access also, we can update the value of the list. Like for example, on my name here, I want to change it. For example, on my last name, for my first name, I will use the name of my sister. Like for example, let's just use name and reference the key. What because this is the value that you are going to change. So recognize what is the key of it. So the key for that one is 1, and set the value, a new value for that. Like for example, um, Chesa May Heart for that, for example. So that means now there is no new value. It's a new value for my name. So when we run it, instead of having John Benhart, so you can have another value for that is Chesame Heart, like for example. Right? You can also create like since there is only three elements there. You can add, for example, for the fourth element, and that is for key 3 because 0, 1, 2, and then 3. For example, that is um, the company which she's working, like for example, Noreco. So now there is now a value for the we have now the fourth element since since the initial declaration and initialization of our variable array name has only three elements, but we can add also for the fourth one here, and we can also output like for example, hello, hello, my name. For example, hello, I work at, for example, and I'll use tree run program. Okay, what's hap name tree? You have problems? Yeah. So we tried to create. So when say element length is three, so that means we only have three elements there. We don't have here. We don't even try to create like uh, in this technique we cannot able to create. So probably we can use this one name that add. Okay. That is for the list, right? For the list. So we cannot do that kind of technique. So in order for us to really, we cannot add, by the way. So we just use here directly. So you change it, you can directly. So whatever here, whatever, okay, you can run it, and that will make okay. That is work at Nareko. So we cannot do that one. Okay. Another thing, like for example, if you don't know what first your list of or value, like for example, but you mentioned that you have on your array you have 10 elements. So for example, you can create like for example a string for student and just write here um, open close and then 10. Okay. Yeah, string student 10. Okay, so in C++, it is working that you are telling it that you only have to put 10 values. So in my case, I guess that is working. So all we need to do is, yeah, that's really it that I want. For example, yeah, um, Acosta, for example, that is for last name, and the student, it's not been initialized. Yeah, yeah. So probably we don't have. Okay, just forget about it. Just you know that that is how we can use arrays. Okay, in basic ideas and a simple usage of array. So right now we are going to incorporate our task for my video. Really, my highlight of this video is to incorporate here. Oh, or we have to create array for this. objects, right? Because we already have created our object. So to do that, okay, I'll just how can we do this one? I know it is only a review. I'll just remove everything here. Okay, so just while just playing, you may go back and screenshot for if you review this part, right? So I'll be deleting this one, and I want to uncomment this. Yes, okay, for us to really go on in from scratch creating our array for our object. So first, the same thing that we can do is to try to use hero 3. Okay, that's the class name, right? And you put here braces, and now we can use what is the object name for all the object, right? For example, hero. So all of those are hero. So you can really instantiate it, or can instantiate it, or you can only declare first. It's up to you, right? So you have hero, and you can use hero is equal to new hero 3, and you define here how many objects that you're going to create. Like for example, I want to declare uh, 8 user for these objects for this array. So you're telling us that hero instead array, yeah. So hero array, a class. Okay, so in this class we're creating array of objects. Okay, and we will name it to hero. So hero has a new hero 3. It is a class again, and you are telling how many objects that you are going to create, right? So that's it. Okay, or you can also create, like for example, hero 3, and for example my hero is equal to new hero 3, for example 10. Still the same. It's only um sorry, I have to put 3 here. So the same thing. In here, we just use multiple lines. First is we declare it, and then we hit next. This one is initialize it. Here, we only declare initialize. So we are telling here now that we are creating an array of this class. So meaning array of object of this class. And also for initialization, we're setting only how many objects that we are going to create. Okay, specify. So right now I'll be either of the two are okay. Okay, so we'll just continue. So going back here for us in our objects here, so we can use, like for example, hero, and add open close parenthesis, and this is for 0. So the first element uh, of our object array. So now use like new, and don't forget the class constructor. Remember that in our hero class we have here a class constructor, right? So we define it on our part 3 on our video, where where we did this kind of thing for the constructor. We set a value, so don't forget that one. So in order for us to initialize this class, we should really um, comply those uh, parameter data that we need to uh, pass through in our constructor. So here, new, and then hero 3. So constructor. So by that, you can have an error since we want to create like this one. So in order for us to really do it, just copy and paste all of those things because we already did it this one. So I'll just hero 3. Okay. So right now, so we have our first element, which is key 0. So this is the now my first our first hero. And here we initialize our constructor by providing those data needed for our constructor for us to initialize completely with our object. Right now here, so I will just comment this one because that is this objects not been used. We're using a hero. Okay, so this is now for the first element of our array, right? So all of those things data are inside of our array. Okay, so next thing that we have is to create another element. So hero 1 is equal to new hero 3. Okay, so for us to really completely initialize this one or to complete this work, we should use supply those data for another hero. So just copy and paste here for us to make it fast. Okay, copy and paste because we are our aiming here is to really organize our work to make it much more simpler. Okay, improving everything. So right now we have now the second element and they'll have a key one and these are the values. Okay, then the third hero, hero 2 is equal to new hero 3. Then we can same thing, copy and paste hero 3. Just remove that one comment. So now we have a nice code. Compare it on above, right? So completely removing this one. So from how many lines of code that we have, probably we can have one, two, the same thing, same thing, but it's much more nicer, much more readable this time. Okay, so now we can do is all of our objects has a name hero, but we need to use the key for each element. If you want to access the object that Aldos belong, you should use 0. If you are going to use Eudora hero, that is for key 1, and for Tigreal or Tigreal, use hero 2. So for example, we have to use like we can also use this method like introduce hero. So we can use directly. So by accessing it by just telling that hero, for example, if you were calling Aldos, so hero, then 0, and you have to really just type that. Okay, so this hero 0, just the meaning that this is the object that you are been using. So that you can still access for those attributes. You can change also the attribute. You can access all the attributes there. You can also use the introduce hero method for us to know to introduce the hero. So we can use that one. So hero key element 0 and use the same thing katong ginagamit which is the method. So when we run it, it outputs like for example, hi Bang Bang. Okay, my name is Aldos, right? And okay, then my hero code is in Mobile Legend is 50, right? All the things that you've set here is set up. So you can also use like if you reference it to for the hero for Eudora, you can use it. You can change it to 1. It's very easy, you know. It's very comfortable and convenient for us. So now we can now access Eudora. So hi Bang Bang, my name is Eudora. My hero code in Mobile Legend is 15. Blah blah blah. Okay, so that's it, right? Then Same thing, like for example, for the third hero, right? Output there. Oh, we have an error, right? Yeah, yes, the why we have an error. Since we set only for the three elements, right? So the maximum key for the three elements only two. Here we don't have a key value for two, right? So that's the key value. The key is two for the value for this object, right? So please mindful for that. So we have here for Tigreal. So our code is much more simpler and nicer right now. So we can just work on it, play on it. Like we can also, like for example, if you really have to change something, like for example, if you try to make fun for it, for example, Aldos is a tank, for example. So you can really change like zero, zero. That is for Aldos object, right? The first object and type, for example, you can access like for the role, you can change also instead of fighter to tank, right? So you can still change whatever the set value, already set value for your constructor. You can still access it on here for our attributes, and you can still, instead of using Aldos is a fighter as a role, we can now change it to tank, right? Okay, so you can have fun of it, make practice of it. So I guess that's my presentation is all about. So I hope you've learned something from me with this video. I am grateful that you made this far watching this uh, recorded session. So if you have questions, please contact me through my FB account or on my consultation link. So thank you everyone. Again, God bless and keep safe. Bye bye.